Hi friends, thanks for joining me. Today I'm using the December 21 main kit to create my layout, and I've been challenged this week to scrap 3 photos in an interesting way. And I found this mechanism online and I thought it was a really fun way to display 2 photos by popping them out. And my mechanism supports a 4x4 photo and 2.5x2 photos. Let me show you how I made it. You'll need some base papers, which you'll need 2 of, and they are 4 by 5.5 inches. So they're both identical, and you'll need to score them at 4 inches and 4.75 inches. As you can see, I'm doing that here. So each score line is 3/4 of an inch, whichever way you want to go around it. And do that on both pieces of paper. And you do need to be accurate at this point. And then you're going to fold those sections so that you'll end up with a valley fold in the middle. Do the same on both sides, that's really easy. And just want to score those with your bone folder just to get some nice sharp creases. Now, to make the pop-out mechanism, you're going to need 2 little arms, and these will be hidden by your photos. So it doesn't really matter if you're just using some scrap cardstock. It does need to be quite sturdy. And mine are about 3/4 of an inch, 2 inches by 3/4 of an inch. And you'll need a 45-degree fold at the end. So I kind of just tried to measure mine and scored it, but you could just fold it over at an angle so it's flush on the other side. Now, because these are the exact same width as those folds, they do catch a little bit. So what I end up doing actually is making these little arms slightly thinner than those folds we made earlier. So I'm just going to trim this scrap piece of paper down. I'm just going to take off a slither off the ends. So you could either make your fold slightly wider or just cut that slightly thinner in the first place. But I am going to switch it back to 2 inches. That's important because these arms are going to swing out from the top of your or from the back of your photo, so they do need to be fairly accurate. And these are going to be folded at the 45 degrees, as I said before. And I'm just being fussy here, lining them up on my mat. But literally you could fold those over. And they will be secured to that fold that we made earlier on the base. So it helps if you fold up that angle, just so you can see. And it did take me a few attempts to kind of get my head around it, but once you actually have a go yourself, you'll find it's really easy to do. And you just want to make sure that it's flush with your creases and the edge of your cardstock. And you'll want to then do the same on the other side. So if you can imagine, we've got one on the top left and then one pop-out photo on the bottom right. They need to be in opposing corners so that they don't catch. And that's basically it. So we're just going to fold the 2 pieces of paper back together, and you'll see that those will pop out. Once it's all secured onto the background, they will move much more easily. And once you've got your photos on, that weight will help with the fold out mechanism. So all that's left to do then is to secure those 2 bases together at the bottom edge. And say if it's slightly wide as I've got here, I've just trimmed that off. And we're just going to glue those 2 pieces together. So you do want to be accurate here, as I say, so you'll get a nice flat mechanism if you're accurate. I did have a bit of difficulty with mine because I think one of my creases can't have been in the right way, but give it a good rub down with the bone folder and that should flatten it nicely. think what I've done is one of my edges is slightly longer than the other. So a little jiggery pokery. I kind of made a little bit of a mountain out of a molehill, I think, but I really love the effect anyway, so it's worth persevering. So now those are together, we can create the base for the photos. The photo sizes, or the base size, is 2.5 inches wide by 2 inches tall. So pretty tiny. Now you could scale this up to much bigger photos all around, or you could have a different shape mechanism. So it's really easy to scale and adjust. So once you've made one, I made one on a piece of scrap paper, as you could see there. It's really easy then to get your head around what you need to do and then change it to suit your photos. So I'm just going to glue my photos onto that cardstock, and then I'll mount those onto those fold out arms. And once all of those are on, it'll be really smooth as it pops in and out. So you just want to make sure that those photos line up to the edge of the base and on both sides, and then when you pull it open it shouldn't catch. Ta-da! And then my photo is just shy of the 4 inches square, just so that you can see a bit of the pattern paper. I think I'm going to mount it onto some of the pattern paper first, and you could just pull the top of the base up to have the photos pop up, but I thought it might be a cute idea just to use one of the tags from the kit to do that, which you'll see in a moment. But really you could just pull the top of the base there, and you know, if you want to keep it nice and simple. So now we've got the tricky bit out of the way. It's just plain sailing from here on in. It's just decorating and securing that photo down onto the base. As I mentioned, then I'll use that tag there that I've created using the December dies. I've just used half of it then as the pull-up, and I can add some twine to that just to pretty it up, and some embellishments. And I'll be using that snowflake paper as my base, and I really fancied using some of those pretty frames from the main kit to just put behind the photo and give me an opportunity to add some embellishments. I hate it when my embellishments just float around, so I do like to anchor them to the page if I can. So the colour kit included this beautiful stencil. It's so pretty, it's like kind of a lacy snowflake stencil, and I used the inks from last month's colour kit, so from the November colour kit. The bathtub is so pretty. It's a kind of a soft minty colour, and it comes out a little bit stronger than it does on the lid there, or a little bit more vibrant, which is really, really pretty. And I think that just helped to add a little bit of colour to that background because it is quite pale. As I mentioned, I shall be using those frames, the chipboard frames from the main kit, just to anchor my embellishments around the page. Once we've got that mechanism out of the way, it was a really simple layout to pull together. So what I'll do is I'll leave you with some music, and we'll catch back up towards the end. one thing I like to do is when I'm stenciling is just to outline some of the stencil area. I use a very fine liner in a pale grey or a dark grey, and I think it helps just to give a little bit of definition. So I'm just doing that inside of that frame before I cover it all up, which I do tend to do also. But as you can see, I've used the die cuts from the main kit. There's so many pretty die cuts to choose from. They're just gorgeous. So I feel like I'm just going to have a couple of clusters at the top there, and then another one at the bottom around that snow globe. And I just want to be sure when I'm adding my embellishments that they don't catch, or the photos don't catch on those embellishments as you pull them out. So that's the only thing to be aware of, really. Because I do like a bit of texture and tend to use a lot of foam tape on my layouts. So that is the pull-out mechanism there that you can see just by pulling it up. The photos pop out. So mine did catch on that tag up there, so I'm just going to trim that photo down just to stop it catching. But that's just me making a mistake with that little tag. I should have given it a little bit more clearance. So it's easily solved just by trimming off that right hand side there. But it's a really, really fun technique. I think it will give your viewers a little bit of interest, and it would be great on a card if you wanted to make it into a card. But I think it's a really super cute idea. I hope you like it too and might give it a go yourself. If you have any questions, please feel free to message me or leave a comment below, and I'd be happy to help. Or you can message us on the Facebook group for Hip Kit Club, and I'd be thrilled to hear you're having a go yourself. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed the video. You could give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Pop over to our Facebook group and you can see lots of lovely inspiration for the December kit from the team. And thanks so much for your time. I will leave you with the close-ups and I'll see you on the next video. Take care now. Bye.